Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on China's president, Jinping. I don't know if I said that right. I think I kind of maybe got it a little right. But anyways, a lot of you have asked for the tea. You wanted to know exactly what is going on, and I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to give you the tea, so get your popcorn, get your tea kettles on, get your tea bags ready, because honey, I have a lot to say, and that's what I'm going to start by saying. That obviously I'm not from China. I don't know anything about this gentleman. Just like any of the other people that I read, I don't know anything really about them. When I tune into his energy, immediately what's coming forth is a lot of guilt. He knows that what he has done, and he knows that there are going to be repercussions from the USA and other nations in the world right now that are kind of blaming him as, unleashing this bioweapon, this biological warfare, the virus that originated in a lab in Wuhan. Okay. So when I get into him, every president of any nation has an ego. When you're at that level of power, there is a certain level of ego. His comes through. It kind of feels almost like he has a lot of dark secrets. He's very kind to the people that he would, be in front of, always smiling, very courteous, very gentlemanlike. But in his mind, he's very much a businessman. But his weak point is his family, and that's where he is always going to have his focus on. I also feel like he doesn't like our administration. He doesn't like our administration. He doesn't like the power that the USA has over other countries. Okay, so for him, what he's working on is currency. He's working on their financial structure. I'm not sure what China works or is based off of when they the form of currency they use. But there is a lot of that he's trying to do. Like what Spirit brings forth is that this virus originated, it was started not just as biological warfare, but to kind of give them, I think he almost, like what Spirit says is like he almost felt like he had leverage by unleashing this virus, that he would have some kind of financial gains for China. Because again, they are the leading manufacturers for a lot of stuff and products that we depend on. Like basically, if you look at labels, if you look at clothing, everything is like made in China. And we have outsourced to China a lot of our jobs. And so that was like a big mistake with previous administrations. I honestly do feel like we are going to take our power back. We're going to start fabricating a lot of the things that we were outsourcing. I can tell you that he is nervous. They are all nervous because I do feel like he wants to start a war. I do feel like and when I say he, I mean the China's leader, Xi Jinping. He wants to start some kind of war. That's what I get. I don't necessarily feel like this is like a nuclear war, but it would be more like within currencies, within power over the world. And so I see him butting heads with Trump, butting heads with other nations. But he is not doing all the decisions alone either. He has a lot of other people that are in his ear, specifically another guy that comes through who would be very almost like someone that they would consider spiritual in their way, that gives him kind of advice as well. I do get that he is very, very patient, but he likes things in a very controlled and orderly fashion. And he doesn't feel like he washes his hands of any responsibilities or things that his staff does. Because I feel like a lot of the things that they did to the doctor that was the whistleblower and that kind of stuff, that was all part of the Chinese government. It was all part of them doing their own little things to kind of shut people up, if you get what I'm saying. So, but he doesn't, in his mind, he doesn't feel like he has any hand at that. He feels like he almost is like, I'm just the leader, I'm the face of the country, I'm doing the best job that I can, and here I am. But at some point, he has to take accountability and ownership of the fact that this virus was unleashed. Whether it was an accident or not, I don't see it being an accident. It was unleashed, and it wreaked havoc around the world. All of these lives that have been lost, all of this death that has been happening, there's no way to reclaim those lives. You can't bring people back from the dead. You can't bring back, all the death that all the souls that have left this world due to this virus. So his hands are kind of like tied. He doesn't really know what to do next. I feel like they're trying to build their own economy back up because they did take a big fall. But I feel like it's kind of like he's stuck in between two decisions. And I also feel like he is going to eventually meet with President Trump and a lot of other leaders. And it's going to be ugly. There's going to be a lot of exchanges of words and things, that I don't feel like they're necessarily going to like, but I feel like it's coming and it's very necessary. For the other countries, including ours, to take a stand on China for what was done to our country and other countries. We lost a lot of people. That this is all like didn't need to happen, but it's all about the greediness and it's all about money. That's what this whole virus was. It wasn't so much for anything else but control over people and weakening nations. He, in his mind, I think he felt like, if this virus can stay in China, and we kind of skew numbers, and we don't say much to the world, about it. We kind of keep them out of the loop. That we can kind of experiment with our own people. And for me, when I look at him and when I'm here in spirit, I'm like, this is crazy. This is so dark. It's so sinister. It's so twisted and corrupt to experiment on your people like if these were pets in a lab, like lab rats. And the thing is with this virus, it spreads so quickly. So many people were, subjected to being locked down. But the numbers that are being reported of deaths is way higher than what he initially was publishing and putting out. And he knows it. And he knows that. And I just feel like he doesn't really care. Again, around him is a lot of greed, power. Like, this man lives a very lavish lifestyle, has a lot of security around him 24/7. And I get that there's other plans and things that they want to unleash into the world. It's almost like he wanted to, unleash a virus. Okay, let me repeat this. Let me kind of give you another twist on it. What Spirit is kind of saying is like he wanted to unleash this virus to look like, we had this virus, that it mysteriously appeared, it mutated, it took out a lot of our people, but we are the first in the world to come up with a vaccine, therefore we are the heroes, we are the saviors for the entire rest of the world. But I don't think that they were really kind of thinking that we would have our own cures and that our own brilliant minds around the world that are not in China specifically would come up with a vaccine that would come up with something to really counteract the effects of this virus. But this virus, was known many years ago, like in the early 80s or late, I think it was like the early 80s. There was forms of coronaviruses, but not this form that is so destructive when it gets into the actual lungs of the person. I do feel like at some point he will end up leaving his wife and divorcing her. There will be something like leaving. There's a lot of personal changes in his, and I feel like his wife is not happy. Like, she's scared and she's nervous, but she is also kind of like, I can't believe that I married this person, but women in China are very different in certain parts. And like when you are with a leader, it's not easy just to kind of leave the leader, in because it would create a scandal. Things in his personal life are far from perfect. There's a lot of turmoil, and he's very sly. He's going to lie about the fact that the virus originated in China or take all the blame. He is going to kind of wiggle his way out of this in some way. I don't know. That's what I get. That's the messages. But he has a lot of rough period ahead of him for the next year or so. There's a lot of basically rough patches that he's going to encounter, whether this is tariffs, or fines that are imposed upon him. However, the USA is going to impose sanctions or whatever. There's a lot of that's going to happen, but I also feel like they are going to retaliate in some ways and limit the products or availability that is, available to the USA. So if you are someone that maybe has some kind of, you outsource your company or you get products that are made in China because it's a lot cheaper, the thing here to realize is that you may want to look for somebody that is operating out of the USA, because I feel like it would be actually cheaper from what Spirit would say is saying. It would be a lot more cost effective for you to get it from someone local, because there may be like delays, and we may see a lot more delays on products that are coming from China to the USA. I mean, at some point also, I also feel like there could be like a big currency battle, something where they become like a global powerhouse, and they take kind of the lead role, and obliterate whatever is like an antiquated form of money. So again, they are very ahead, and they know what they are doing in some ways when it comes to biomedical kind of things like that, but also in e-commerce and money is what I'm getting. So there's going to be a lot of negotiations, a lot of revisions that we're going to see publicized. This is going to be very public. But for him, I don't feel like he really gives a care if someone in his in his own family would have passed from this virus. That's kind of how I get the mentality. As long as he is safe, and maybe his immediate family, but like other family members, I really don't feel like they're that close. It's very, very disconcerting to know that we, have someone in a country that has this kind of power over people. People are afraid of him, and like the whistleblower that mysteriously, quote unquote, died from the virus when he was pretty healthy. It's crazy, and I don't believe that person, the whistleblower, actually died from the virus itself. And that's all I have to say. So that was my psychic reading on Jinping. I don't know if I said that right. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed it. And blessings and love and light. Until next time. Bye.